It's time for Fresh Oil with singer-songwriter and pastor Keith Manley, a program designed to minister the gospel of God's grace and to bring fresh oil to the brokenhearted. And now, with today's program, Pastor Keith Manley.
Welcome to Fresh Oil. I'm so glad you joined me for the program. This week we are continuing in our series called The Names He Carries, and what a journey it has been already. Last time we looked at Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide. And we stood on the mountain with Abraham and Isaac and watched a ram appear in a thicket at the exact moment it was needed. And we said that Jehovah Jireh is not just a name from an old story. It is the name of a God who still sees your need before you articulate it, and who is already working on the provision before you even know the need is there. Today we're looking at the second compound name of Jehovah, and this one is deeply personal to me, and I believe it is going to be deeply personal to many of you as well. Because at some point in every human life, healing becomes the thing you need more than anything else. Maybe you are there right now. Maybe the need is physical, a body that is not doing what it is supposed to do, a diagnosis that changed everything, a pain that has been with you so long you have almost forgotten what it felt like before it arrived. Or maybe the healing you need is not physical at all. Maybe it is emotional, a wound that goes so deep that you have stopped believing it can actually heal. Maybe it is relational, a fracture in something that used to be whole. Or maybe it is spiritual, a dryness, a distance, a place in your soul that feels like it has not been reached in a long time. Whatever kind of healing you need today, I want to introduce you to a name of God that was revealed for exactly this moment. Jehovah Rapha, the Lord your healer. The healer who has never once lost a case. Now, to find this name, we go to Exodus chapter 15. And I want to give you the context because the context is everything with this name. The children of Israel have just come through one of the most spectacular moments in human history. The Red Sea has parted. They walked through on dry ground. Pharaoh's army came in after them, and the waters came back, and the most powerful military force in the ancient world was swallowed up in a moment. And the people stood on the other side and sang. They sang the great song of Moses, "The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation." Miriam took a tambourine and led the women in worship. It was one of the great celebrations in the history of the people of God. And then they walked 3 days into the desert, and they could not find water. 3 days, from the peak of the greatest miracle they had ever witnessed to 3 days without water in the wilderness. And when they finally found water at a place called Marah, the water was bitter. They could not drink it. And the people grumbled against Moses and said, "What are we going to drink?" Now I want to pause there for just a moment, because I think there is something very honest and very human happening in that transition. One moment you are dancing on the shores of the Red Sea with a tambourine. 3 days later, you are desperate and thirsty and complaining in the desert. And we want to judge the Israelites for that. We want to say, how could you go from that worship to that complaint so fast? But I think if we are honest with ourselves, we know exactly how they did it, because we have done it too. We have had our Red Sea moments when God moved so clearly and so powerfully that there was no other explanation. And then 3 days later, or 3 weeks later, or 3 months later, we are in a dry place again, and the fear is back. and the complaint is rising, and the miracle already feels like it was a long time ago. That is not unique to the Israelites. That is the human condition. And God knows it. And He does not respond to the complaint with judgment here. He responds with a name. Moses cries out to the Lord, and the Lord shows him a piece of wood. And Moses throws the wood into the bitter water, and the water becomes sweet. And right there, in that moment, in that place of bitter water turned sweet, God speaks, and this is what He says. He says, "If you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in His eyes, if you pay attention to His commands and keep all His decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. I am the Lord who heals you." Jehovah Rapha. I am your healer. Now I want you to notice something about where this name is revealed. It is revealed at Merah, the place of bitter water, the place of thirst and disappointment and complaint. God does not reveal Himself as healer on the shores of the Red Sea in the middle of the celebration. He reveals Himself as healer in the desert, at the bitter spring, in the place where the need is real and the situation looks impossible. That is not an accident. That is the pattern of how God reveals His names. He reveals them at the point of need. He shows you who He is in the place where you most need to know it. And if you are in a bitter place right now, if you are standing at a spring that should be refreshing but is not, if you are in a season that should be sweet but is turned dry and hard and disappointing, I want you to know that this is exactly the kind of place where God says, "Let me tell you who I am. I am Jehovah Rapha. I am the Lord, your healer." Now let me take you deeper into what this name actually means. Rapha in the Hebrew comes from a root word that means to mend, to restore, to make whole. It is the word used for a physician who stitches a wound. It is the word used for a craftsman who repairs something that is broken. And it carries the idea of returning something to the condition it was originally designed to be in. Not just patching it up, not just making it functional, restoring it to its original design. That is what God does when He heals. He does not just deal with the symptom. He goes to the root. He goes to the original design. He restores what was broken to what it was always meant to be. Jehovah Rapha is not a God who applies a bandage and moves on. He is the God who does the deep work, the thorough work, the work that gets all the way down to where the damage actually is. Now, I want to address something directly because I think this name raises a question that a lot of sincere believers wrestle with. And the question is this: if God is Jehovah Rapha, if He is truly the Lord who heals, then why are there people who pray for healing and do not receive it? Why are there faithful, believing people who have cried out to God for physical healing and the healing has not come? Why did someone I love die of a disease they prayed against? How do I hold this name alongside that reality? I am not going to give you a pat answer to that question because it does not deserve a pat answer. It deserves honesty. And here is what I honestly believe. Jehovah Rapha heals. He is the healer. That is not negotiable, and it is not subject to revision based on our experience. He healed throughout the Old Testament. Jesus healed constantly throughout his ministry, and the Scripture says he healed them all. Every single one who came to him, he healed. The healing ministry of Jesus was not selective, it was comprehensive. When people came to Jesus with sick bodies, he healed them. That is who he is. That is what Jehovah Rapha does. And I also believe this: there is a healing that is complete and total and permanent that is coming for every child of God. A day is coming when Jehovah Rapha will do his final and fullest work. A day when every broken body will be made whole. Every wound will be healed. Every disease will be finished. Every tear will be wiped away. The restoration will be complete, and the name Jehovah Rapha will be fully displayed in a way that silences every question we ever had. But between now and then, we pray, we believe, we ask. We bring our sick bodies and our broken hearts and our wounded souls to the one who heals. We do not give up on the name just because the healing has not yet come in the form we asked for or in the timing we hoped for. We hold the name and we keep coming. We've witnessed it. And sometimes he heals through the skill of a physician, through medicine and surgery and the gifts he placed in the hands of doctors. That is also Jehovah Rapha at work. Do not make the mistake of thinking that divine healing only counts if it bypasses the medical system. God invented the human body. He understands it at a level that the most brilliant physician can only approximate. And when God guides the hands of a surgeon or opens the mind of a researcher to the right treatment, that is still Jehovah Rapha providing healing, just through different means. And sometimes he heals the heart while the body is still waiting. Sometimes the miracle is not the disappearance of the disease. Sometimes the miracle is the peace that passes understanding in the middle of it. The supernatural ability to trust God in a season that should be destroying your faith, but is not. The grace that sustains you through what you thought would break you. That is Jehovah Rapha touching the deepest part of who you are. And sometimes that is the most profound healing of all. Whatever kind of healing you need today, bring it to him. Bring your body, bring your emotions, bring the broken places in your relationships, bring the wounds you stopped believing could heal, bring the dryness in your soul. Bring all of it to Jehovah Rapha and lay it before him with open hands and honest faith. He is the Lord, your healer. He revealed that name at Marah, at the place of bitter water, and he is revealing it again today at whatever bitter place you are standing in. He turns bitter water sweet. He makes broken things whole. He restores what was lost and heals what was damaged and makes new what was dead. He is Jehovah Rapha, and he has never once lost a case. Join me next time on Fresh Oil as we continue in the names he carries.
Thanks for joining us today for Fresh Oil with Pastor Keith Manley. Fresh Oil is an outreach of Grace Family Church in Rockford, Illinois, and can be heard each weekday at this same time. You can reach us online at weneedgod.com. Until next time, remember, God's love for you is unconditional, and he makes his mercies new every morning.